Hello, hello, Jacob here, new sounds and old. Um, Second video in January, who would have thought that? I think I did 5 videos in total in 2023. This is already my second one this year. You know, if I keep at this pace, I will maybe do 9 videos this year. Wouldn't that be something? Here today to show you some records that I bought on sale. So many of the record labels, at least in Denmark, and I'm thinking uh, maybe around Europe, maybe even in the States and around the world. Some of the record companies have done some stock clearance sales. Um, and many of the shops in Denmark, both physical and online shops, have been posting online, posting on Facebook that now this label, Universal or Sony or whoever Warner are doing clearance, stock clearance sale, and we have these titles at a fair price. I jumped on a bunch of these sale records at I think two or three different vendors. One was online, and two were from physical shops. So yeah, here we go. First one is an album that I kind of took a chance on this one. This is Olivia Rodrigo's Sour from 2021. Um, I, of course, unless you've been living under a rock or you are one of those people who feel that there has not been any good music released since 1980. You may not know of Olivia Rodrigo, but she's one of the biggest pop stars currently around. She's from the States, I believe, and she had a huge hit with the song Driver's License, which I really like. It's a very good song. And then also Good For You was a hit from this record here. And this is, even though this is pop music, there's a parental advisory, explicit content, because she does swear a bit, this young lady, in her lyrics. All in all, I found this to be a decent pop album, not anything revolutionary. But I enjoyed it, and I'm happy to get this cheap. I think price wise, most of these records were obviously paid in Danish kroner, but let's say calculated or converted into dollars, it would maybe be like 13, $14. Euro wise, it would be like 11, 12 euros or so on. So it's a fair price, and it was a decent album. Another album that I did pay a little more for, but it was still on sale, and one of my favorite albums from last year, and I was surprised to see this one on sale already, was Caroline Polachek's Desire I Want to Turn Into You, released last year. And I really, really enjoy Caroline Polachek. I think that she is um, a very interesting artist. She writes some very very catchy pop melodies in electro pop kind of vibe with some inspiration from the 80s and the 90s. Vocal wise, she reminds me a lot of the lady whose name I have now forgotten. God damn it, Imogen Heap. Imogen Heap. Um, she does some of the same kind of vocal things as Imogen Heap did or does. I think that she still releases records. But Caroline Polachek, Desire I Want to Turn Into You. Um, Pretty Impossible was Blood and Butter were some of the bigger hits on this one, but this is a very, very good electro pop album. I paid a little more than what I said before for this one, but it was still on sale. It was still cheap, and yeah, happy to get that one as well. And from two young pop stars to an absolute legend, and someone who actually last year released one of her best albums ever. This one though is a 2 LP best of. This is Kylie Minogue and her compilation called Step Back in Time. This was released 2019, so obviously this is a reissue. But this basically has songs all the way back to the start of her beginning with I Should Be So Lucky and Locomotion up until a new sorry, a new song. I don't recall what the new song on this compilation is called. But yeah, Kylie Minogue. If you're into pop music, there's no denying Kylie. At least not on this side of the Atlantic. And yeah, I have a bunch of her albums already, but I'm happy to pick this compilation up as well. So moving into a slightly different feel and vibe and music style, I picked up this one. This is German-born English composer Max Richter, or Max Richter, if you pronounce it in German. This is his album called Infra from 2010 originally, and then this is a reissue from 2017. Max Richter is someone that I came across. I came across this album, The Blue Notebooks, that I only have on CD. I really want to get that on vinyl as well, but that was an amazing album. So he composes like contemporary modern classical music, and he has done a lot of work for TV and movies, a lot of soundtracks for TV series and movies, and he's just a brilliant composer. I really enjoy his compositions. He has an ear for music that is truly beautiful. I'll give you a short sample of this one. This um, I'm not sure what the idea behind this particular project is. I haven't read up on that, but um, there are some electronic vibes to this one as well. And I think that's the first time that I've actually heard that in his music. I don't know all of his albums. He has released so many albums and projects over the years. Um, but there is kind of an electronic vibe to some of the songs on this, but the main focus is the modern, classical, beautiful melodies. And he does that quite well. So, Max Richter. Another one of my favorite modern classical music composers and performers is the Icelandic gentleman called Olafur Arnalds. Yeah, there's a handball game going on the screen behind me. Denmark in the final later today, and hopefully we will beat those French bastards. Olafur Arnalds, this is his album called Island Songs from 2015, 16. Um, and he again is just an amazing composer, haunting, beautiful melodies. He has also done a lot of work for TV series and films. One that comes to mind always for me, because I really enjoyed that show, is the one called Broadchurch, a brilliant British crime series. And he is just amazing at setting the vibes perfectly for whenever he does something that has to be put on screen. And this album here is has some folk elements. There are some spoken words elements, and this was done. I think this was also done for a film project with a filmmaker. And it only features 7 songs. It's a relatively short album, about 30 minutes long, but it's really great. I'll give you a sample of this one as well. The third and final modern classical music composer that I want to show an album from today is Italian gentleman called Ludovico Einaudi, and this is his album called Elements from 2015. He is relatively new acquaintance to me because I have listened to guys like Olafur Anders and Max Richter on Spotify. Spotify chose to recommend Ludovico Einaudi's music to me, and again, uh, beautiful melodies, modern classical. It's not like a big symphony or anything. It's shorter tracks or songs or melodies of like 3, 4, 5 minutes. Um, and if you want to have something that you can really relax to and chill to, and maybe read a book, open a bottle of wine, read a book, and have some exquisite music in the background. Ludovico Einaudi is also a great option for you to pick the, the music from for that setting. He is just really, really great. I'll give you a sample, hopefully, of this one as well. So still in a kind of ambient, or well, not ambient, but maybe somber and chilled out vibe, but moving away from the classical music. This one I actually won in a contest. One of the local record stores had a contest every day during December or until Christmas at least, where you could win a record, and I won this compilation here from Nick Drake called Treasury, and this basically picks some of the most known and best songs from Nick Drake. So you have Riverman, you have Pink Moon, you have Way to Blue, you have Hazy Jane, cello song. Um, yeah, so an introduction to Nick Drake, Treasury. If you don't know his single albums, this compilation here might be a good way to start with his music. So yeah, happy to win this and not pay a dime for it. So from soft melodies to more loud noisy melodies, I picked up on sale this reissue of Sonic Youth's 1994 album called Experimental Jet Set Trash and No Star. This is the follow up to their 92 album Dirty, which is the album that I think it was the first Sonic Youth album that I bought. That's the one that I really fell in love with them on. I I first came across Sonic Youth in 1990. I was 13 or going on 14 years that year, and on the local library you could like lend or borrow cassettes, and there was this cassette with this weird cover of this drawing and cool people's sunglasses and it just kind of spoke to me, and I listened to it and I really fell in love with it. And of course, then like a year later, Nirvana made it to the big stage with their Nevermind album. They were touring and opening for Sonic Youth in that period, and so I got more into Sonic Youth. And then '92, when Dirty came out, I was just completely floored. Saw the video for 100%, the first single off of Dirty, on MTV, and knew that I had to get that album. And I still have my original copy of that one on vinyl. um, I went back and got Goo and got some of Daydream Nation, and then this one came out, and I was a bit surprised from the very first single, Bull and the Heather, which is a great song, and I liked it back then as well. But the sound was different, and the feeling was different, and what I didn't know is that it kind of this album kind of encompasses more of what Sonic Youth were prior to the big breakthrough with Daydream Nation, Goo, and Dirty. It was more weird, more noisy, more alternative songs, if you will, and maybe not the more grungy kind of sound that they had, at least on Dirty. Um, so with the years going, I learned to love this album more, and I absolutely adore it today. And it stands out actually as I think one of their best in their discography, and I think maybe even the last Sonic Youth album where they get really. I mean, obviously, Washing Machine there is, which was a more quieter album, but it does finish with the Diamond Sea, which of course is noisy as hell. But um, this is um, this is maybe the last album where they're really um, venturing into new sounds and venturing into alternative songwriting and so on. So the one where they're like young and not just follow the recipe that they have kind of made for themselves. So yeah, this is a great album, Sonic Youth from 1994, and staying in the 90s, although changing musical direction quite a bit. I also picked up the reissue of Chemical Brothers' Exit Planet Dust, their first album, I believe, and also with Chemical Brothers, I fell in love with them with this album via MTV. The singles from here: Leave Home, Chemical Beats, Life is Sweet, One Too Many Mornings. A terrific album. Um, I'm not sure if they actually kind of topped this album later. The next two or three albums were really great, and I don't think that they've done a bad album, but this one just epitomizes what to me is Chemical Brothers. Yeah, so very good. Obviously, they had bigger hits later with Hey Boy, Hey Girl, and so on. But yeah, this one stands out to me in their discography. So yes, I got this one. And going back to the 80s, the late 80s, but still, I believe, 1988, but still a classic, although be it in a different genre, I picked up NWA's Straight Outta Compton, which I don't buy much hip hop. I rarely buy hip hop, to be honest, or rap music. But this is one that you have to have in your collection, I think. Um, at least for Straight Outta Compton, sorry, the track, and of course Express Yourself, and just the importance of this album in in rap and hip hop, and the direction it took after this album here, and what Dr. Dre, to name one person from this band, made it to Ice Cube, of course, also. So this is a pivotal release in rap and hip hop, and yeah, I picked up this one as well. So I have four more albums to show you, and they're all kind of in a more jazzy vibe. First up is an album by a Danish saxophone player, Cecilie Strange. If you speak English, you might call her Cecily Strange, but it is Strange. And this is, I think, her first album with her quartet. And this is like standard modal quartet jazz that maybe once in a while sticks out a bit and gets just a little bit weird. Um, but she's an amazing saxophone player. I have one of her later albums called Blue, which is just brilliant from start to finish. And I really, really enjoy her playing and her songwriting. She's also in a band called Kaleido, which is also amazing. But I'll give you a sample of Cecilie Strange, Danish jazz from 2015, I believe it was released, 14 or 15. So check it out. Moving on to a classic when it comes to jazz, at least in my opinion. Although I don't think that maybe I think maybe a lot of people don't know about this album. I would think this is Dorothy Ashby and the album called The Rubaiyat. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It sounds Indian. The Rubaiyat of Dorothy Ashby. Ashby. So Dorothy Ashby was a jazz harpist. As you can tell here from the cover, she plays quite an alternative harp, I guess. And this album, I have to tell you, it was released in 1970. I think she released about 10 albums. I think that this is maybe considered her masterpiece or her, the best release in her discography. Um, this album kicks ass, really, really kicks ass. So there are songs with vocals, songs that are instrumental. She plays the harp beautifully, but her band on this album just really, I mean, they just play so wonderful. Um, as I said, released in 1970. If you're into, um, uh, say, jazz that is, a little free, um, but not, it doesn't get all weird and bibbity bobbity free. But and yes, that's a term that I just invented, for lack of a better word. But it does have soul, it does have funk. There is power behind, even though the lady plays the harp. Um, Check this album out. This is a reissue, Verve by request, pressed at Third Man Pressing. I read somewhere that um, some say that you have to avoid records pressed there, but this sounds very good. Um, Dorothy Ashby, the Rubaiyat of Dorothy Ashby. Check it out. A couple of Brazilian albums next. Antonio Carlos Jobim, and composer of Desafinado Plays. I believe that this album was done when he came to America. This features like an orchestra, like a symphonic orchestra, and vocals in English, and it sounds very American produced. I believe, like I said, that this album was done when he came to the States. Yeah, recorded in New York City on May 9th and 10th in 1963. Um, Says the liner notes on the inner sleeve. Beautiful picture here of Antonio. So this features some of Antonio's best songs: Desafinado, One Note Samba, The Girl from Ipanema, Aqua de Beber, Chega de Saudade, Corcovado, Favela. So listen to my Portuguese pronunciation here. You can easily tell that I'm 138 days into a Duolingo streak learning Portuguese, right? Um, a great album if you like his songs and if you would like to hear them with a bigger orchestra and not just Antonio playing the guitar. This might be something for you. If you're into a um, more jazzy Brazilian touch, I have this album, which is the last one to show you. This is João Donato and his album A Bad Donato, released originally in 1970. This is a Verve Records reissue from last year. And this also was done when, I believe, when João Donato came to the States. And this features there were no liner notes on this one, unfortunately. This features some of his well-known songs, like Care Judel, and what are some of his other songs that I know? Malandro, I think I knew beforehand. You can see the track list there. Once again, the band on this record here is just playing so great. Horn arrangements by João Donato and then Eumir Deodato, who of course was an absolute mastermind when it came to arrangements. Dom Romao is on drums. You know him as well, maybe also. Killer jazz, funk, soul record with a Brazilian touch with João Donato's brilliant songwriting. This album just blew my mind, and you have to get this album if you're into jazz and Brazilian style jazz, at least. And it was cheap because I got it on sale, like most of these titles that I showed you today. And that's it for today. Sorry, I'm throwing all of my records on the floor here. I can show you. I just picked up a batch of records yesterday, all classical. A colleague of mine buys collections, and he sold me a bunch of these classical albums here from the Deutsche Grammophon Galeria series. I'm not sure whether that is good or bad, whether that's a cheap. I mean, it's all digitally remastered. Must be from, I don't know, start to mid 80s, 86. This was released, this one I'm looking at now. But yeah, I can show you these in the next video. A lot of classical stuff. You know, you have Rimsky-Korsakov and Haydn and Wagner and Bach and so on. Yeah, really great stuff. That's for the next video. Yeah, that's it for now. Go out and buy some records from your local store. And if you can save some money because they're on sale, well then that's even better. Until next time, see you, bye-bye.